Hey everybody, what's up? Today I'm going to be talking about the Esee 6, which is one of my favorite fixed blade knives that I've ever had or handled. I really think that this knife gets so many different things right, and so it should for the cost involved. This is without a doubt the most expensive knife that I've ever bought for myself, and I don't regret it at all. I really think that I've found pretty much the perfect fixed blade knife for my needs. So the name is kind of a misnomer. It's not actually 6 inches long. It is 5 3/4 inches long. It weighs 12 ounces, the knife alone. I couldn't find a stat for the weight of the sheath, but to me it feels like about 3 ounces, something like that. So maybe 15 as a total package, which is very reasonable. The steel is 1095 high carbon, which is something that you're going to need to protect, which is why that coating is on there. And that coating is doing very well so far, by the way. And the handle is made of micarta. It's extremely comfortable and fills the hand well. It's also made in the United States, and it has an excellent warranty. I understand that no matter what you do to this knife, they will service it. We stand behind our knives with 100% lifetime unconditional guarantee. We will repair or replace it if it ever fails, blah blah blah. So that's pretty cool. There's not a lot of warranties like that out there, that unconditional. I'm not sure what they would say if you went and chopped through like a concrete block and sent it to them, but I'm not gonna do that. But it's just nice to know that it has such a great warranty. So let's talk first about the blade length, because I think that this is pretty much hitting the sweet spot as far as fixed blades go for me. I do have a couple of other fixed blades that I can show. Here's a Mora, for example. This is 4 inches, considerably smaller and lighter. But yeah, too short for a lot of tasks, right? I don't have any larger knives to show, unfortunately, but I also have the BK2 here, which is considerably shorter. Sorry, I'll just move things in frame so you can see better. Considerably shorter and also much heavier. It's 25% heavier than the Esee 6. But yeah, shorter blade, heavier. I really think that the Esee 6 hits the sweet spot. With folding knives, paramilitary 2, I believe this is 3 1/4 or something, 3.5 inches maybe. I think somewhere between 3 and 4 is ideal for folders in my preference, anyways. With fixed blades, I think around 6 inches is pretty much perfect. So, you know, folders are for the city. Fixed blades are for the woods, and as perfect as the paramilitary 2 is for the city, I think that the Esee 6 is equally perfect for the woods. Having that extra blade length, I found really made a huge difference, and also having a thinner blade, I seem to prefer that as well. This BK2 is a 1/4 inch thick, and I don't know how thick this is exactly. I didn't look that up, but it looks to be about half as thick as the BK2. Which I actually find works better for batoning, which is pretty much what I'm doing with this knife most of the time. Also on top of the blade here, there's a bit of jimping, and there is this choke up choil, which is really excellent for when you're doing detailed work, like creating shavings off of wood, maybe making the feather sticks, or carving, something like that. So you definitely have some options in terms of grips with this knife. For batoning or chopping, you're going to be back here somewhere. For the fine stuff, you'll be choked up, and that's pretty cool. I like that. So it's a very versatile knife in that sense. The steel, the 1095, you are going to have to take care of that. In terms of edge retention, I went on 2 or 3 nights of camping with this, plus a couple day trips. Did a significant amount of work. When I got home, it was not shaving sharp, suffice to say, but I was able to sharpen it up fairly easily on the sharp maker and get it back to that beautiful hair shaving, paper slicing goodness that we all love. So it's good to go now. I did notice a rust spot on it after I washed it. Excuse me. You have to be super careful with these carbon steels. So what I'm going to do when I store it away is I'll just wipe it down with some mineral oil, stick it in the sheath. It should be good to go. But the coating on here is what really aids in that rust resistance, and I'll show you the BK2 here as a, not counter example exactly, but just something for contrast. I understand that the finish on this is a little better than what comes on the Becker K-bar knives. Can't really speak to that because I haven't had it for that long yet, but I will note that this one obviously shows more wear and tear, but then again, it's older, right? So who can really say? But if I find differently, I'll let you know, but so far it seems to be holding up fairly well. But after you get that sort of exposed steel poking through the finish there, you're gonna have to be more diligent with the keeping the blades lubricated, keeping them oiled up when you're storing them, that sort of thing. So I'm definitely, you can see this one's kind of shiny because it's got the mineral oil on it. But yeah, so far so good. I do understand that this 1095 has a special heat treat applied to it. So people do say that it is better in terms of edge retention than the K-bar knives. I don't really know about that, but what I will mention though is that that shaving sharpness that we all strive to have with our city knives doesn't really matter that much in the woods at all. What matters in the woods is having a working edge, and this knife held it for as long as I wanted to work with it. So that's pretty awesome. The handle is excellent. It is the micarta, which I don't really have a lot of knowledge about it. This is my first micarta handled knife, but it feels kind of like wood to me, and it looks kind of like wood, which I think is probably what they were going for. But it doesn't have the same properties as wood in the sense that it won't swell up. Perhaps it's not as vulnerable as wood is to different sort of wear and tear issues. This seems like it's extremely tough. It is absorbent to a point. When you wash this knife, the handle will get dark. When it dries, it lightens up again. If you put some oil on it, same thing, it'll get dark as well. But it seems to sort of go back to normal after a while. So I really like the micarta so far. In terms of fit and finish, it fits snugly against the handle perfectly. There's some sort of a seam there. I don't know whether this is rubber or not. Perhaps to help with vibrations or to insulate the handle or something. I'm not really sure. I've not taken this apart yet. But yeah, just in terms of fit and finish, I think it's pretty excellent, which is another reason why I got this knife, of course. Yeah, the one thing it doesn't have though is that sort of 3D element to it, and I'll show you the BK2 again here. I kind of like that. I wouldn't say that I would take this handle over this one necessarily. They're both really good in their own ways, but I kind of like that sort of hand filling. And I'll also show you the Voyager here as well. You know, just completely unrelated, but same kind of deal with the paramilitary too. It's like thinner and still a great knife, but this is a bit more hand filling. But you can't have everything you want, right? You got to make some compromises for sure. You can put a lanyard on there. I think you can pretty much put lanyards on any fixed blade that you have. At least all the ones I have. There's a lanyard there. This is pretty handy actually. I like making lanyards. What else can I say about it? Okay, just like what sort of tasks have I done with it? As I mentioned, I mostly use fixed blades for batoning. I did a little bit of chopping with this as well, and it worked reasonably well, I would say, but it's not ideally suited for that task. For chopping, you'll be better served with a heavier knife and a longer knife. Something along the lines of an RTAC 2, which I do not have here. And there's also the Esee Jungless. Don't have that either. And frankly, other than for testing purposes or super duper survival situation, I don't intend to chop very much in the near future at all. That's what a long folding saw is good for. So you'll saw off your sections with this, and then you'll baton them with the fixed blade. Nobody really talks that much about folding saws, but pretty awesome. This is a Baco, and yeah, love it. Got to get another one and put it in storage as a backup in case they stop making it. The sheath. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. So it is a molded plastic sheath, and the retention is absolutely outstanding. You can shake that all day long, and that knife is not going to come out. Perfect. I've never had a Kydex sheath, so I can't really speak to sort of the quality compared to this, but I'm perfectly happy with this. It also has a cool belt clip, and you can also clip that on your pocket or like a bag or something like that as well. I've done both those things and it worked extremely well. Pretty much my favorite sheath, and that is a large part of the reason why I was willing to pay extra for this knife over something like a BK7, for example. I'll just show this up against the BK2. sheath, you know, which I think it's very different than the BK7, but it's kind of representative of what you get when you pay more. Also plastic, which is really cool, but where it attaches to the belt, it's gonna be flipping and flopping all over the place. It's just, you get what you pay for, right? Like, I paid extra for that, so I got it. But otherwise, they're very similar sheaths. Watch this, I can make it fly off like a rocket. There it goes. And I mean, God forbid that you go even further down the line and you end up with something like this, which if you take off the handle retainer strap there and just shake it, it just falls out. So, I mean, you do get what you pay for. This is 40 bucks, this is 150 bucks, right? But I do think it's worth it. Most expensive knife ever, and very happy with it. What else can I say? I guess that's it pretty much. Last thing I'll mention though is when you put it away to store it, because this is high carbon steel. I already found a rust spot on this after just the other day. So anyways, put some mineral oil on the blade, just kind of wipe it down, and when you do that, it's going to be nicely protected. You stick it in the sheath and it's good to go. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more camping this year, but this knife will be my go-to knife in the spring. When I get back out there, do more trips, there's always going to be more adventures out there. So yeah, and you kind of see what I was talking about there with the mineral oil kind of like staining the handle, but whatever, it's no big deal. But yeah, SE6, absolutely outstanding. My favorite overall fixed blade that I've ever had. Perfect. Love it. Thanks for watching.